David Jr. You know your dad has always been there for you. Always. Even when you're messing up. I don't know completely what got into your head that night. Can't tell you that, bud. All I can tell you is you should have came and talked to your dad. Every time we sit down and talk and have a discussion, we normally come up with a plan, don't we? Yep, that way you get what you want and you do what you're supposed to do, right? Isn't that the way it's supposed to work? At least that's the way I thought, right? So, you come back into the house. You attack your sister twice in the pool. That was just twice in the pool. That wasn't the outside occurrence when she kicked you in the eye, which you deserved it. You shouldn't have been messing with her like that. And no, that's not just your dad siding with your sister either. I don't do that. I've never done that. You were upset over a certain swing. You had a swing, but you wanted that one. She wasn't giving it up. You took it upon yourself to be rough with her, and she handled it pretty well, actually. Do I condone that? No. Did I? No. But you were the bully, you were the aggressor, and she protected herself. Didn't she? Yeah, you had a nice black eye, didn't you? That was when you were going to Conalingo, wasn't it? Yeah, I don't think you were quite home yet. I think that was on one of your visits. Then you tried it again in the backyard and upset Mom. Almost got Mom and your mom in a fight, but your mom was defending you, even though Mom was just yelling at you for trying to seriously injure your sister on purpose. Seriously. You also got yelled at in the front yard when you tried to seriously injure your sister and your brother Talon. What, you guys gonna try and say that that's my background? That's where he got it from. It was pretty funny. None of my kids ever showed any signs of this aggression that you're talking about until that day he went into the school and lied about that Lego set. That was right around the time that false report went in to Union Hospital and that Tiffany missed a second intake. Funny. Funny, funny. So, let's get this straight. Before you go to foster care, when you're in St. Vincent the first time, and they're giving you all these questionnaires and all that, the one you said about your dad and your mom, you know all that's on file, right? Is that why I'm blocked now? You know there's other people that can get it, right? Yeah, and the fact that Tiff blocked it means she's blocking it, like I said. What'd you say about your dad on your own free will? Your dad wasn't even around. Uh-huh. You remember? Because I remember. It's crazy how when I sit here and think about it, I remember it. It's really hard to remember stuff that far back, but I can. Even back into when I was 2 and 3, some of them were bad situations. That's probably why I remember them. But you have gotten yourself into a real situation. know what to say to you, boy. Other than what I told you when you were 12. Reality, right? Yeah, it doesn't matter who sees it or doesn't. You know, don't you? Oh, I love you more than anything in this world, but you still got to answer for what you've done. Yeah, accident or design because of the nature of the situation. Yeah, buddy. It's what's right. Yep, that's what men do, even if they mess up. Even if it was because you were so upset. Still gotta tell the truth, man. That's what makes us men. We don't have that. We ain't a man. Our word, right? I haven't got to teach you none of this. You're getting there. Buddy, it's enough. Time to tell the truth. I know they scared you into what you did. I know exactly what they did. Mm-hmm. The same tactics they tried to use on your dad, but didn't work on your dad. Guess that's because of this, right? Must be. Or maybe it's because your dad tells the truth, and you know it. Why do you think that is? This is hard. The day that the thing with David went down, Talon was allowed to play video games, so was Kirsten. Um, David wasn't. Which, for the longest time, it was always the other way around, and David would never let them play, not unless I made him. But now, because he got in trouble and lost it for a little while, they were allowed to play. And David could do whatever he wanted. He wasn't grounded to his room at that time. Um, he kept coming out. We were hanging out, and he kept going back to his room playing chess and all this. He got bored. It was because he was hearing the games. And he asked me if he could behave, if he could go in with Talon and play. And I said, buddy, I don't think that's a bad idea as long as you can behave and don't start nothing with your brother. Okay. Literally, the moment he went in the room. The moment. Talon's like, okay. Hands him a paddle. They start fighting over the paddle. I'm not using it, that's typical. I calm that down. You could see David was still mad. He wouldn't let it go. Um, Game starts. Literally 5, maybe 8 minutes after they actually start playing the game. He starts wanting to physically fight Talon because Talon's doing really good. Um, that's when I broke it up, sent him back to his room. He didn't like it. He was throwing a fit. I mean, really, really throwing a fit. And I just ignored it. I didn't ignore it. I stood there so he wouldn't, come back out and try and attack Talon. But I basically just looked towards the living room or down at the floor. Waited until he was done. Told him to calm down. It wasn't that big of a deal. I asked you not to fight with your brother. You repeatedly fought with your brother, so I put you back in here. Now, if you cannot settle down, you can sit in here until you can chill out, which is normal. David went in, he sat down, he chilled out, didn't have a problem. So, don't know what to tell you there. I do know that Sunday when I showed up, his mother did not have a vehicle to transport these kids, and they were all upset. I have that on video. Shortly after that, I get a court date saying that I did something to my son. Yeah. And he's flipping out just like Jazz is, saying that these things happened. They never happened. They never happened. See, they were trying to upset me, but they couldn't. And they couldn't understand why. So they made up stories. Right. Now, even if I get upset and talk in a deep dad voice, it's still not abuse, especially for what they're doing. And I've had to do that to Jen and Jazz, or Jen and Tiffany, because they were never raised with that. Her mom would just start talking like that and then put her in a headlock and start fighting with her. I mean, physically. So I wasn't allowing that to happen to Tiff. So whenever I was around, it didn't happen. I mean, her mom could say her piece and whatnot, but don't be doing that shit, you know. Even though, yes, words can hurt, but they only hurt if they're the truth, or you know that the other person is mentally ill and they at one point believe that. That's when they hurt. Even though they can believe a lot of stuff that comes into their heads, I am not that type of mentally ill person. Never have been. So, PTSD is basically anxiety and shell shock to situations like this. It's not like military gets, which is way worse. I know that. The sub shop added to it, like I said, the life that I've lived. Made it. Big deal. I gotta deal with that. And it means I get a little nervous when I see things going down that are really similar to what I went through. Yeah. Sometimes really nervous. Yeah. Especially when I see it about to happen. I like to point it way out before it happens. Yeah. Especially when I'm seeing other people do it. They hate that, apparently. But, yep, that's me.